I first played Star Ocean Till the End of Time when it was released back in 2004, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. I put a lot of time into this one when I was a kid, and I've been wanting to replay it as an adult for a really long time now. And since I found that reviewing these games is a great way for me to motivate myself to actually finish them, here we are. Till the End of Time is the third game in the Star Ocean series, which got its start back on the Super Famicom and continues to this day, and this is chronologically the last in the series. The series takes place in the distant future where human civilization has spread into the stars, with this game taking place in the year SD 772, which according to the in-game lore is around the year 2859. But most of the game takes place on a planet called Elicor 2, which is still in its Middle Ages. This futuristic setting helps set the Star Ocean series apart from other JRPGs, but that isn't the only thing that makes it unique. This is one of the few JRPG series that prefers to use real-time action over turn-based combat, and this game's combat is one of its biggest strengths. This game uses an action-based combat system where you have complete control over your character's movement and actions. You are able to assign skills and abilities to activate when you hold down one of the attack buttons. The problem with this system is that in the heat of battle, when things start getting frantic, the game doesn't always do the best job of telling what is a long button press versus what is a short button press. So there were a lot of times where I found that abilities would either activate when I didn't want them to, or they wouldn't activate when I needed them to. At least that's how it is on the version you can download for the PlayStation 4, but I think the original PS2 version might have taken advantage of the fact that those controllers were actually pressure sensitive, and so you had to push the buttons harder to activate the abilities. But it's been a really long time since I played the original PS2 version, so I don't remember very well. If you've played that version and you know better, let me know in the comments down below. I noticed that if you set the AI characters in a certain way, they would just hang out around the edges of the battlefield and sort of wait for you to heal them when their HP or MP get too low. This really annoyed me until I figured out what was going on, and it took me a little while to figure out what was happening, because they will sometimes do this when they aren't even in any sort of critical status. At first I thought the AI was just sort of bugging out and acting like my dog for no reason. Vegeta, come here. Come here, Vegeta. Come here, buddy. Who's your good boy? Vegeta, come here. Vegeta, come here, buddy. Vegeta, come here. Come here, buddy. Good boy. Instead of random encounters, this game has enemies placed in the world. When you touch an enemy, battle starts. I really like this system because if you don't want to fight something, you can just avoid it. There are a lot of parts in the game where you have to backtrack a lot, and not having to waste time fighting weak random encounter after weak random encounter is really nice. This also helps a lot when you want to grind out a few levels, because you can see which encounters are going to be the bigger, stronger enemies with more experience points. And this is definitely a game where I level grinded a lot, especially as things started building up to the climax. I'll go more into the build up to the end later, but oh boy, does this game have one hell of a difficulty spike. It's really impressive just how much content there is in this game. There are 4 difficulty levels that you can play through. There are 300 battle trophies that you can collect by meeting specific goals in battle, and then there is a very deep, but very tedious item creation. I largely ignored this item creation as a teen, and that was stupid of me. With this item creation, you can make some very, very powerful weapons with all kinds of boosts and benefits. However, making the specific item that you want can be a very, very tedious process. First of all, the game doesn't tell you what item you're going to make until you've already made it, and the only clue that you have as to what item you're about to make is how much it is going to cost. So if you know what item that you want to make, but you don't know how much it costs, you're really best off doing a Google search. But not every character can make every item, so if you don't know what characters can make what items, which you can really only find out by attempting to make random things, that's another Google search. It just really annoyed me how many Google searches I had to do just to make the specific item that I wanted. Once you know the characters that you need to use and how much it will cost to make it, you still need to select your invention plan, and the prices are randomized. There were multiple times where it seemed like I spent several minutes selecting new plan after new plan just trying to get the cost for the one item I wanted to make. There are also a few bonus dungeons that you can go through after you've completed the main story, but to be honest, I didn't bother with them at all. After spending 60 hours with this game, I was satisfied just with seeing the credits roll. And there's a versus mode that basically turns the game into a tournament fighter, and that's definitely a thing that's in this game. I really feel like the gameplay in this is its biggest strength. Most JRPG combat systems are best described as being either strategic or in-depth, but very few of them are described as being fun, and that's exactly how I would describe the combat in Star Ocean Till the End of Time. And while the way the game plays is one of its biggest strengths, the way the game sounds is one of its biggest weaknesses. And I don't mean the music. The music is great, and Motoi Sakuraba did a phenomenal job with the soundtrack. But who the did the sound editing, and why are the voices so quiet? This is a console game from the early 2000s, so there isn't a way to alter the audio levels in any way, and this annoys the crap out of me every time I play it. The voices are so much quieter than the music and sound effects, that without the subtitles, there is no way to know what the hell is going on in any of these cutscenes.
I'll explain, but remember, refusal isn't an option.
I don't know about that. I won't do anything that I don't want to do. There's always a chance we won't be able to do what you ask.
I told you in the dungeons that I required your technology, did I not?
Maybe it's for the best. The quality of voice acting ranges from cringingly bad to meh, pretty good. I want to say again just how awesome this game's soundtrack is. Each piece of music is carefully crafted to put the player in the character's shoes and feel the same thing that they are feeling. And the music also really helps move the story along. And even though this story is far from perfect, it is still one of my favorite video game stories of all time. As I mentioned earlier, the game is set in the distant future. You play as Fate Line God, a college kid who is always trying way too hard to be the good guy, to the point where he usually comes across as a dumbass because of it. Fate is on a family vacation when the resort planet is attacked, and during the escape, Fate teams up with Cliff, who has absolutely no personality outside of occasionally having an erection. They end up stranded on Ellicor 2, where they get caught up in this big war going on between two superpowers on the planet. They are joined by Nell, who is probably the most interesting character in the game. At the start, she seems very cold-hearted, all about her mission and nothing else. But as the story progresses, you eventually see a much softer side that's been there the whole time. The pacing of this story is really, really slow. Seriously, Tolkien got to the point quicker than this. And most cutscenes are really just 10 to 15 minute long exposition dumps. And all of this stuff with the war on Ellicor 2 is really heavy on the anti-war undertones, which are pretty well implemented, even if a little obvious. The party eventually leaves Ellicor 2 with Maria, the obligatory computer whiz, and Fate is reunited with his childhood friend Sophia, and the sexual tension between these two is thick enough to cut with a knife. I'm about to go into some pretty heavy spoilers here, but there's a plot twist towards the end of the game which is often criticized, and I feel like I need to address here. At a point, you learn that our three-dimensional universe was created by beings who live in a four-dimensional universe, and the creator has decided that it's time to delete the Milky Way galaxy. So now, it is up to Fate and his friends to enter four-dimensional space and stop the creator. Now, putting the many laws of physics being ignored to the side here, I actually really like this plot twist. I think it creates a great sense of desperation for the characters as they basically realize that they have to confront God. And by the way, you know that old joke about how JRPGs always start with you saving a kitten and end with you killing God? Well, with this game, you start with being on a family vacation at the beach, and end with killing God. It just is what it is. I am super glad that I finally got a chance to replay through this game. This has always been one of my favorite PS2 games, and as an adult, I feel like it still holds up. Thank you so much for watching my review for Star Ocean Till the End of Time. Please, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know about it in the comments down below. Follow me on Twitter, and check out my gameplay channel. I upload there every Tuesday and Thursday, and I will put a link to that in the description below. I hope to see you next time.